What is going on, everyone? We just got to the lake. Super stoked for today. This is a lake that I love coming to because typically I can find fish suspended, but that's not what this video is really about. I'm going to unveil the brand new boat, my dream boat, and share with you guys the boat that I went with to replace big old Blue Phoenix. So super stoked for today. One of my first trips out in this thing. I've had it out once or twice before, but for now let's get on the water, try to find these fish, and hopefully we'll have some big ones to show you guys before I show you guys the brand new rig. There's one. That fish was super high up in the water column. They're always so strong too. They're so fast. These fish were built to do this, so they're just incredibly fast fish. And they fight so hard. So that's kind of what I'm doing out here. It's not a super hard technique. It's just a matter of getting the bait in front of those fish that are currently feeding or feeding up. And you know, the way I figured this out wasn't actually from using forward facing. I came to this lake and saw fish were busting up, and I threw a spy bait over there and had one eat it before it even came to the bottom. And then I started to realize, okay, if I see fish actively feeding, I can catch them coming up to feed, but the bite window is so small, you got to catch them when they're on the up. Otherwise, they'll just track and not eat it. But that's what they look like, those high flyers right there. And if they're not up, they won't bite. The way I found those ones is I saw a dimple on the surface, I saw a fish bust, and I turned my graph and saw them up there. They're still right here. There we go. These fish might want it stroked out away from them. That's a better one too. Because what happens is they follow it really close and then they kind of get off of it. I wonder if they want that thing darting away from them. Wow, that's a better one. There we go. Dude, that's what I've been waiting for all morning. I might have figured that thing out. There. Look at how long and skinny that fish is, but man, that deal where that bait gets pulled away from him, oh, that's the deal. Whew, that's sweet. I really hope it's something small like that, because I had them follow, track, get it, but I think they want that bait darting away. Feels good to like catch one. I had one hooked earlier. It was immediately on the fall. I lost one on that cast, or the cast before that, immediately on the fall. I think they want that bait darting away fast. There we go. Again, compete, and it was that hard action coming up and down with that bait. Oh, and they're just barely touching it, man. I had one cast prior where they pulled the trailer down. Oh, man. It's another pretty decent one. 2.5, 3 pounder. Oh. I know it sounds weird, but I'm actually glad there's a bunch of jet ski boats and these big boats that are going to blow these shad around. So these fish are on small bait fish, and I can't seem to catch them as well when these bait are all grouped up in these tight pods. But when these big boats get out here, it seems to blow this bait around and the bass seem to get a lot more active. We'll see if that still holds true today, but in the past it seemed to be the case. Or it's just been bite windows, right, where first thing in the morning I'll catch them, and then, or right in the evening I'll catch them. But basically once that sun's high, these fish seem to get tough. we go. I came up way shallower. Whoa! Oh my gosh! And that's why they're so hard to catch. I came up way shallower. I'm in 23 instead of 33. Did you guys see how high that fish jumped? I'm curious. I think these fish are not out that deep yet. Or maybe that cold night slowed them down a little bit. They fight so hard. I mean, overall that's not a giant fish, but for this lake, it's a pretty nice one. Thanks, buddy. There we go. That one is way out there. That's another good one. That was like a full cast length away. Look at that. They're so long and lean, but they're really pretty fish, just built to hunt bait in open water. One of the things we're struggling with right now is we had a huge cold front last night, so it dropped from like 85 degrees yesterday to 55 degrees this morning, which I think has these fish a little bit tough. It also has this bait not moving around quite as much as normal, and compounding on that, I didn't get out here as early as I should have. There are small bite windows, especially when this is happening. Early in the morning, and then there's one midday and then late at night. But I think I missed part of that bite window, which is why I caught just the very tail end of it. But the baits that I'm using is just a little diner shiner with a small Xcite baits prototype. I tried the Duo Realis Finder shad. I just didn't have any in that minnow style color. When this is really good, you'll look for 5 to 10 plus fish all grouped together and then watch for them to move up to eat the bait fish. There's only onesie, twosies right now, which I think makes it also pretty tough. You can't really get them to commit. We're gonna get back on it, and hopefully I'll have a couple more to show you before we put it on the trailer and head somewhere else. There we go. Man, it's that reaction of getting those fish to come over and look at it. And once they're there, they're a lot more apt to eat. These fish are so strong in this lake too, because they come up so hard on these baits. They're so fast and they're so lean because they have to be able to chase these bait fish around. I mean, that's another, ouch, that's another long, lean fish. They're not enormous out here, but they're so fun to catch and so strong. Thanks, bud. Your little Do It Diner Shiner, Do It Mold's head, and then a minnow profile bait like this Xcite bait we're coming out with, and that's been the deal. I'm curious, before you guys skip to the end, after seeing kind of the inside of the boat, leave me your comments down in the comment section below. What do you think I bought? That's what I'm looking for, though. Those dots up in the column like that. These fish are definitely not set up right yet. I mean, I've gotten a couple, but normally you'll see them in pods of like 10 to 15 fish. And out here today, they're in like onesie, twosies. You might see one in a group of 4 or 5, and those 4 or 5s are the one you can catch, but they're just not fully committed to this yet. There you go. That was the lone roamer. Oh, these fish are so tough. For every one that you guys watch me catch, I probably throw at 50. Like, that's the craziest part to me. That's a long, skinny fish, but just so skinny and small. And I know there's like 3.5 pounders in here. 3.5 is a really big one. Thanks, fish. Here's another thing is, if you guys can see, there's like 5 to 10 fish schools on bottom, but you can't get them to eat not even a drop shot unless they're coming up. So that's why I have to throw this presentation to those fish that are actually actively feeding. Those ones on the bottom, or the ones even suspended lower in the column, don't seem to be catchable. But when they're up feeding and they're up moving, you can get them to go. I think they're just so dialed in on that bait fish up in the column that that's the only time that you can get them to eat. I hate to do that. That's a big one. Dang it, that was a big one. That was that 3.5 I was telling you guys about. I literally spun the boat around after I told you guys that last fish was the last one, and I saw 2 of them. Made that cast, and I basically didn't give that fish any line, not any second of daylight. I held my line, and he dug next to the boat, jumped, and came off. That was sweet. That's a better one. There's another one just like it with him. Oh, it's like that one I jumped off earlier. Should I get the net? Probably. These fish are so aggressive. That's funny. Yeah, I bet that one earlier was this size, if not just a little bit bigger. I mean, that's like a really quality fish out here. Thanks, buddy. They're just so gorged. Thanks. Okay, well, I went to put the boat on the trailer. Let's give you guys a quick recap. I think we're a little bit early for this bite. I think these fish are just a little bit scattered still. They're not super grouped up and don't want to be feeding on those bait fish. And I also think I missed the bite window. I could probably stay till this evening and find another bite window where they really bite, but caught a lot of really nice fish. The key was finding those big pods of bait fish, and you can do it with tootie as well, and then finding the bass on the bottom underneath them. And you kind of have to just wait for those fish to come up. That's another reason we're going home. It's just getting kind of busy out here, and while that helps the bite a little bit, I'm kind of tired of fighting it. So I'm going to get the boat on the trailer, and then I'm going to take it home, and I'll show you guys the boat at home so we're not sitting at the ramp taking up other people's places. So now that we're home, it's time to share with you guys my brand new boat, and this truly is my dream boat. When I ended up purchasing that Phoenix 9 years ago, this is the boat that I actually wanted. I just didn't pull the trigger on. And it's arguably one of the best rough water boats ever made. It is a Champion. Now this is a 1992 Champion 184, and I really wanted something that was a lot less expensive, but also a boat that I could make my own, and I can really make this boat my own. I certainly have. I've been putting a lot of hours in on this thing, getting it ready, getting it to where I want it to be, and comfortable to fish out of when I'm out there on the big water. It's an older boat, it's a smaller boat, but one of the best parts is it handles big water really well. Although it's an 18-foot boat, if you guys take a look here, the front deck on this thing is incredibly massive. So where I lose a lot of the space now is out of the back end of the boat. Now one of the biggest changes is that the back deck is extremely small. So the front deck is as long, if not longer, than the deck on my Phoenix, but the back deck doesn't have anything other than live wells and a battery compartment. So I'm losing a lot of storage back here. If someone's fishing out of the back of the boat with me, I mean, unfortunately, there's not as much room as the Phoenix, obviously, but the front deck is incredibly massive. So what I did is I took and I built extended decking. These older boats would cut off the front deck about halfway back. So I built this deck in here, and I'm going to end up putting marine mat down. And I'm super excited about that. I think it's dumb to have carpet in boats, And so having the ability to put EVA foam, that marine mat in there is going to be really awesome. I'm going to give you guys a formal walkthrough later, but put a force on there, obviously live scope. This truly is my dream boat. I'm super excited. It's a lot more affordable. It's a lot more relatable. And for me, it's what I've always wanted, is a boat that I can truly make my own, do my own thing with, and super stoked about. I really appreciate all the support, guys. The rod that I used in today's video was a TFO Resolve 7'1" medium light, perfect for making those precise casts to those suspended fish. Then I fished it on a little 1/8 ounce Diner Shiner Dual Molds head, and then that prototype 3.3 Minnobi from Xcite. That's going to be coming out very soon. I'll keep you guys updated when that bait is dropping. I believe it's July 20th, and you guys are going to want to get your hands on some. These have been catching me a bunch of fish. I've caught a fish almost 6 pounds, a bunch of really quality fish, and obviously it caught a bunch of fish for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys are excited as I am about the Champ 184 and all the adventures we're going to put in on her. Thank you guys. As always, take care, tight lines. God bless. Pursue passion.